I'm Keith Lockitch. I'm a fellow at the Ayn Rand Center for Individual Rights, and I'm here at the Energy and Environment Conference in Phoenix. I just gave a talk on a panel session devoted to energy and economic impacts, and I think I basically shocked the whole room with my heretical views on climate here. This panel it consists of people who are talking, people from the Department of Energy and people in National Renewable Energy Lab, and they're talking about how they're going to bring renewable projects online and all this various sort of thing. My talk was, I spoke about climate vulnerability and the effects of political and economic systems on that, and my perspective is that if we maintain free markets, if we maintain, if we remove government interventions and regulations, and we don't impose, a massive carbon capping regime, that preserves our ability, our resilience against natural disasters. It preserves the functioning of the thriving of our economy, and it keeps us safe from climate disasters. So I'm arguing that we shouldn't be doing any of this. It definitely stirred the pot here a little bit.
Well, one of your fellow panelists used the word denier in describing you, and,
Yes.
and a person sitting right behind me in the audience said that your presentation reminded him of the lies of big tobacco. What's your reaction to? I know you tried to, take this discussion a little bit away from, you're not there really debating global warming science. You're there debating, economic models and the politics of all these things, and societies, how they deal with these things. But what was your reaction to being called basically a denier, and to say that obviously, I think the implications that you're some kind of shill, as like big tobacco would be, for a lie.
Yeah, which is completely ridiculous. But the way I see it is, this movement has so much momentum behind it. Once it gets down to the level of a conference like this, you've got thousands of people here, who are past the point of thinking rationally about these issues. They just accept the claims that they hear, and they're just marching forward, looking at all the details of how we're going to implement this massive carbon regulation regime. So it doesn't surprise me that they'll have a strong emotional reaction. I can take it, and my goal is just to offer my views in as calm and rational a way as I can, and hopefully have an impact on people who are open to hearing another point of view.
You've been to many panel discussions in your 2 days here in Phoenix. Can you give me an impression of what you've heard? What are the themes? Are there things that people are talking about here that either disturb you or surprise you?
Well, they don't surprise me at all, and they definitely disturb me. Basically what I gleaned from the plenary sessions and the panels that I've attended is, where everyone is committed to 80%, basically cutting off greenhouse gas emissions. The technology is not there. It's going to cost $2 to $3 trillion of GDP, and the government needs to do it. Let's go forward. So, basically, everybody here just wants to walk our society and our economy off a cliff, and they're just eagerly looking at all the details necessary to implement that coming disaster. So, yeah, it's not a good situation. The good news is, coming out of Copenhagen was a complete failure. It doesn't look likely that anything's going to happen in the Senate, especially with the recent election in Massachusetts on cap and trade. So as much as people here want to see all this regulation happening, new legislation and so on, it doesn't look likely that anything's coming soon. So we have a breathing spell, but the ideas that form the impetus for this movement, the ideas coming out of environmentalism and the role of government in people's lives, those views are very strongly dominant in our culture, and so even if it's on the ropes right now, it's going to come back. And what we need to do is change the fundamental ideas, the fundamental approach that people take to these issues. The way they look at man's relationship to nature. And if you look at our Ayn Rand Center, ayn-rand-center.org, if you look at our some of the writings we have on science and environmentalism, that gives you an idea of the kind of approach that we take to that.
Keith, thanks for being with us.
Okay, thanks, Jim.